For a long time, I used to believe that omega-6 fats were inherently inflammatory. And now I don't. Because if we actually look, there's studies of supplementing with arachidonic acid and this kind of thing that actually shows that it actually enhances muscle bulk and muscle strength, and they don't appear to be negative in the right situation. And the right situation is a low inflammatory environment. So the problem with omega-6s, or the problem with our old thinking, was that we thought you ingest this omega-6 fat, and then it gets turned into arachidonic acid, and then that arachidonic acid can be turned into these inflammatory products downstream. Arachidonic acid is not converted into these inflammatory products in the absence of an inflammatory stimulus. So if you're in a low inflammatory state, your arachidonic acid is just sitting there, and it can produce good things, but it won't produce these bad things. And in actual fact, when we put people, there's one study I know of that actually looked at arachidonic acid levels on a low-carb diet, which we know is a low-inflammation diet, and they actually found that arachidonic acid levels increased. And that fully supports this view that there's less conversion of arachidonic acid into these negative products. And the reason that all these vegetable and seed oils are associated with bad health is not in essence because they're high in omega-6, it's because they're high in oxidized products. So when you have any fat, for it to be liquid, it has to have double bonds between carbons. The more double bonds, the more liquid it is. So basically the liquidity or solidity of a fat is proportional and a good surrogate marker for how saturated or unsaturated it is. And any fat that has these double bonds between carbons is prone to oxidation. And that can be omega-3 fats just as much as omega-6 fats. And this is critical to understand because people supplementing with fish oil, they're not necessarily doing themselves a service. And they did a study a couple of years back in Australia, so went around to 2 different pharmacies in Sydney, local here, and bought all the available fish oil supplements that didn't have additives to them and measured their oxidation state. And every single one of them had was oxidized. So fish oil is not safe. So the premise is that if you want to avoid oxidized fat, then you better get it from food, because the definition of oxidized fats in food is rancidity. If you are not going to eat something that's rancid, then you're probably not going to be ingesting high levels of oxidized fat. So if you want your omega-3s, have some salmon that's not rotten. Have some grass-fed beef that's fresh. So, and you'll also get your omega-6s this way as well.